You know, have you ever had that feeling when a meme really inspires you to make something? Well, yeah, this meme really drives home how I felt about the Fullbring Arc. When people talk about Bleach arcs, more often than not, the Fullbring Arc ends up at the bottom as the worst arc in Bleach. I don't consider any arc to be definitively worst or the best. Each arc have their own strengths and weaknesses, and it really comes down to the individual. But with the Fullbring Arc, it most times comes down to how unique it is compared to other three major arcs in Bleach. And to kick this off, I believe the Fullbring Arc is exactly what Bleach needed. It needed downtime. We just got up from a massive conclusion to the massive Arrancar arc. To just jump from one war to another in a snap would have been too draining for the readers. The Fullbring Arc was focused on smaller scale conflict, individual characters, and slower pace. What I believe to be the weakest point on this arc is the transitioning point between the Arrancar and the Fullbring Arc. Arrancar was set up as an ending. It really didn't have that many obvious looming threats for the readers. Aizen was the end goal for the whole series, and he was taken care of. Some people believed it was the end of Bleach. Along with that, and this is around the point where Bleach sales kinda dropped. But this is mostly a fault of the Arrancar arc more than it is the fault of the Fullbring Arc. I think one of the big reasons why people consider the Fullbring Arc to be the worst arc in Bleach is probably the massive tonal shift. The Fullbring Arc does not fall off in comparison to any other arc when it comes to writing. It's fundamentally a different style of story. It has good characters, very interesting plots and themes. It's all about Ichigo trying to help himself for once, him trying to cope with the fact that he is useless. He can't do anything if another powerful threat comes along, and the possibility of him being helpless in the face of this powerful threat makes him lose it. He can't cope with it. Instantly, this has incredible setup and a lot of potential to explore his character, and it explores his character amazingly in situations Ichigo never found himself in. The lack of communication after he lost his ability with the SS makes him doubt his connection with the Soul Reapers. The meddling of his loved ones by the hands of the seemingly unstoppable force, Tsukishima, turning them against Ichigo caused him immense psychological damage, and him, for the first time, considering to do things he would never have considered in any other arc. He was seriously considering and willing to kill Tsukishima, a human, and an off chance that it could probably, maybe, most likely not, bring his family members back to normal. And mind you, this wasn't an off chance. You can't really blame Ichigo for thinking this, because ultimately he's been through so much shit up until this point, you really can't blame the guy. But nonetheless, seeing this bloodlust from him, it was very interesting. We really didn't see anything like this in any other arc. We saw a whole other depth of sorrow, anger, and wrath within Ichigo in this arc. This arc really went in with the mystery, fear of the unknown, and the horror aspect. Something we really didn't see from Bleach ever since the first arc, the Substitute Shinigami arc. But the Fullbring arc takes horror to an all-time high. This arc has really nice cast of characters. Sub-members of Execution, Riruka being a highlight, and of course, the main villains, Ginjo and Tsukishima, who shared this interesting, almost symbiotic relationship with each other, working together at pretty much every step. Tsukishima using Book of the End to fulfill every desire Ginjo has, and Ginjo using Tsukishima's ability to steal Ichigo's power, and the way they achieve this is so fucking big brain. If you don't know you're lying, you can't be found out. If you believe in something with all your heart, you don't have to act. Ginjo capitalized on Tsukishima's ability and used it to its utmost efficiency. Ginjo made Tsukishima take his memories. With this, he was fully on board with helping Ichigo. But in reality, their plan was to steal Ichigo's power. But this memory removal turned Ginjo into a sleeper agent. At the start, Ginjo seemed like a shady guy, yes, but as the story progressed, Ichigo along with the viewers grew to trust Ginjo. But this foreboding darkness and something not being right was always looming. The reason why Riruka shines along with her personality and design is how she drops subtle expressions that indicate something not being right, foreshadowing to its finest. You never really know what's fully going on, and when everything ultimately unfolds in the final act, with all the build-up, all the foreshadowing, and all the writing taking place before this climax, it really makes you feel as if everything was leading up to this point. This is what makes a good mystery story. A mystery is not always about the climax, but rather the build-up, the small pieces of the jigsaw puzzle slowly being sprinkled around this arc, which ultimately gives you enough information to really put things together. And this is what makes everything in the final act pay off so well. It is a plot twist, but it does not feel like an asshole. Ginjo having his memories back by Tsukishima and then betraying Ichigo was exactly what was built up in the prior chapters. Everything falls into place. And this is the moment when we see Ichigo be on an all-time low when it comes to sorrow and despair, probably rivaling that of the Dome with Ulquiorra. This scene was so raw with emotions and so impactful, it's amazing. The level of emotion and betrayal on Ichigo's face, the sorrow and the wrath, it really hit home the emotions Kubo wanted to convey through Ichigo. It was simply phenomenal. And this is elevated by Urohara and his father appearing. At first he thought these guys were also under the influence of Tsukishima, but in reality they were here to help Ichigo. It was really uplifting and exactly what we needed in this moment. And in the anime, the following soundtrack really elevated everything. The soundtrack is so fucking good. Okay, back to the script. And this arc allowed Ichigo to be relevant in the 1000-Year Blood War arc. Of course, every arc is important. You can't skip this like you can skip JoJo parts. I'm joking, please don't kill me. But what I mean is, it has a smooth transition. From the events of the Fullbring Arc, we directly lead into the 1000-Year Blood War arc. Fullbring Arc is a mystery psychological horror take on Bleach, and I respect Kubo for taking such a ballsy move in Shonen Jump no less, a magazine that is dominated by battle-heavy action shonen. It feels really fresh and different. The Fullbring Arc of course has a lot of problems, one of the main ones being the lack of communication between characters. It feels as if a lot of things could have been avoided and fixed if only characters communicated more. But this has a reason. Kubo did not want to really remove the anticipation and the sheer on-the-edge-of-your-seat aspect from the story. If the characters just walked up to each other and explained stuff, it would really have no impact at all in its climax. But if you view this as a fair trade-off, it's up to you. I see this as a mistake on Kubo's writing part, along with a fair trade-off. To summarize everything up, Fullbring Arc is widely regarded to be the worst arc, mostly because of its unique nature. It has good writing, well-developed characters, unique themes and conflicts. When it comes to writing, it does not fall below any other arc. Just like every other, it has strengths and weaknesses. But it's a shame most people view this as the worst arc, mostly because of its different. In a relatively short amount of time, Kubo achieved everything he wanted with this arc in relative succession. If you like this video, like, sub, hit the bell, don't be cringe. See ya.